sharing our stories connects us. Listen and be connected. Join us for the conversation meeting weekly at the intersection of community and culture. Hosted by Mario Nunez and Joe King Carter. Well, that's an exhalation that came out on the air right there. Joey, attaboy. Here we go. It's Wednesday, it's noon. And you know, if it's Wednesday and noon, where else are you going to be but listening to the conversation on WMNF 88.5 in Tampa? There he is. I'm your host, Mario Nunez. As always, I'm seated alongside my broadcast partner,
Joe King Carter.
King Carter, baby. You're in the studio, King. And you know what's not in the studio right now?
What?
Is my companion right here, my little, you know this little thing that I ring over here, Joey?
What happened?
Why do I always leave it, Joy? You have to be better. You have to be better at reminding me, because I'm setting up the Facebook Live, and while I'm doing that and distracted, I forget my bell.
You're saying now I got to take care of your bell.
You got to take care of my bell. So
God.
I'm gonna get it now while you're telling us what'd you do last week, Joey?
Last week. Well, you know, last week was like all the weeks of my life, beautiful because I have profound gratitude for living in this dimension. But we are facing a lot of hard struggles out there in the world. So for those of you that are struggling, persevere and be healthy and keep yourself in good shape, folks. But we had an amazing event occur. And do you know what that is?
I think I do, because we talked about it before we went on the air, but I'm going to let you break that story.
Well, basically, you and I had a baby together.
Yes. Well, what?
Yeah.
There's that bell.
And, you know, I doggone it, I guess that means that I'm the mama. Because obviously I looked like I was pregnant for a while, so that's probably what it was.
All right, Joey, I'm buying that.
But yes, so we had several months ago as a guest Patricia Alonso, and Patricia was amazing.
Very good guest.
And it was amazing because Patricia has a long history of service to the community. She has done many great things in the community. She's had a political life. She's had a life in which she has been an interpreter for the Moffitt Cancer Center, ASL, American Sign Language person. And, you know, I'm not going to go into her list.
The list is long.
The list is long. But what happened was that we had that show, and then after that show, we were all sitting around talking, and I don't know who had the germ of the idea, but you and I basically said to her, you should have a show on WMNF, because she is a Latina, and she represents a kind of community that the voice needs to be heard more and more on the air.
Can be considered underrepresented.
Yeah, we need more women talking about what's happening in the world. And so at any rate, Patricia took the idea and ran with it, and she has a new show on WMNF.
When is that? Ring that bell, son. When is that show going to be, Joey?
Well, I'm at Tuesday at 10 a.m. At 10 a.m. Yeah, right. And so I'm very excited for her. She's going to be doing a great job, and I encourage all of our listeners to tune in every Tuesday at 10 a.m. to listen to Patricia. She's amazing.
So congratulations, Miha. We're happy for you, and we'll be happy when you launch on June the 6th. Don't hold me to that. I'll confirm that next week for sure. But she's also extended the courtesy and the invitation for us to be her first guest on the show.
Ding dang.
So, yeah, that's nice, right?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't ask me how my week went.
Well, I was getting to that.
Okay.
Yeah, remember, I just had a baby.
That's true.
I'm just getting my legs under me.
A little postpartum.
Yeah, so how was your week, Mario?
It was good. I mean, they go faster and faster, right? They just roll around on us.
Yes.
And we turn around and it's Friday, then it's Sunday, and here it is Wednesday again. Yeah. And I live for these Wednesdays because we get to share wonderful stories with our community, like the one we're going to share today. Isn't that a nice little segue?
Yes.
Did you see how it's professional?
That was very nice. You did a good job there.
Joey. That's like when you see the guy, you're already scanning the court, right? You've got your peripherals working, right? And you've got this guy in the corner over here, but you've got another guy setting a pick over here, and you're trying to figure out which way you're going to go.
Yes.
And then you make that pass because...
So that's a metaphor about basketball, right?
It is, Joey.
Oh, wow. You're pretty good.
Huh? I'm going to take you all the way there. Yeah. So for those of you wondering, why did he use that metaphor with basketball? Well, because right now, the NBA is in the early stages of their playoff. And let me just say for those of you listening out there, if you're a casual basketball fan, like most of us are, but this time of year you get terribly excited because you realize the skill level, the intensity of the NBA It's incredible. It's incredible the amount of talent that's up there at the NBA level. And, of course, his hockey's doing it, too, so we can talk about that later. But today in studio with us, we're pleased to announce Miss Lauren Barth is with us. She is the Director of Business Development and Operations of the TBL. And we're going to find out what that stands for and what that's all about. And she brought with her one of her stalwart players, one of her. Would you consider him one of the leaders on that team?
He is a leader, yes.
There you go. So Mr. JJ Flores is with us as well. Lauren, welcome to our show.
Thank you for having us.
JJ, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
There
to be
we
here.
go. So we are happy to have you too. And this sometimes you meet people serendipitously in your lives, and everybody listening out there knows that, and they cross your paths for a reason. And this just happened to us as recently as like 72 hours ago, maybe 48 hours ago. And I made a phone call, and Lauren said, I'll make myself available, and I'm bringing one of our players with us. So Joey started off. Let's find out a little bit about Lauren.
Well,
Lauren Barth, everybody.
What we always do is we say, hi, how are you? Who are you? So, Lauren, where did you grow up?
I grew up in New York on Long Island.
On Long Island.
So I am a Long Islander.
Long Island girl.
I still consider myself a New Yorker. I've been in Tampa since 2001, but I'm still a New Yorker.
Okay.
So were you there that fateful day? Were you there?
I was here. I moved here September 5th of 2001, and I watched
Oh my gosh, 6 days before.
I watched 9/11 on our office TV.
Oh,
it was
my
surreal.
goodness.
So that
Wow.
was unbelievable.
And you managed to shed some of that Long Island
I did.
accent. How
I
did that
did,
happen?
and I'll tell you why. Because when I started my business here when I was 22, and I had a very thick Long Island Italian. My mother is Italian Jew, and I talked with my hands, and I had a lot of attitude. And the Southern clients, they always thought I had a chip on my shoulder, and I was very aggressive, and I am pretty unfiltered still.
Mm-hmm.
So it did cost me a client here or there. Just my
what is it they say? You can take the girl out of New York, but you can't take New York out of the girl.
So
right?
I worked very hard on that. I use different words. I don't say talk. I don't say walk.
You don't say coffee or
I
talk.
don't say coffee. I try to use different words, or else every now and then, especially when I speak to family. My mom, she's not living anymore, but when I would speak to her, her accent was a lot. So when I would get off the phone with her and I get back on with someone else, they're like, "Oh my, there you are."
Came back.
Yeah. So no, I'm a New Yorker. Now I'm Tampa.
Well, you did. I think you did a good job at your goal, because I would not have known at all that you were from New York.
Yeah.
When we first spoke, you could have been a Tampa girl, and I would have accepted it.
Good.
So okay. So you came to Tampa, and
What'd you do in New York, Joey? What'd you do in New York?
You grew
What
up
was-
in New York, and what sort of high school, and what happened there?
Yeah, so I went to high school. I went to Riverhead High School, and throughout my childhood career, I rode horses. So I competed in the hunter jumper circuit nationally, and as a junior rider, I did quite well.
Go on now. Come on.
And then out of high school, I went to college for a semester and a half, and then I decided that it really wasn't for me, and I launched my professional career in the equestrian world. So during high school, I did what a lot of kids do now is came to Florida for winter circuit. So winter circuit is from December to April. And I would leave high school. I'd have a tutor. There was a lot of us. We'd have a tutor down in Wellington and Palm Beach, and we'd compete all winter long. The tutor would send our work back to our school in
That's a different
New
kind of
York.
upbringing.
Yes. And then we would, then we go back to school in April after circuit was over. So I did that, and I knew I liked Florida. I don't like the cold. I don't like the winter. I'm not a snow girl. I've never skied in my life. And so I kind of decided, I was 19, sat down with my dad, and I'm like, I want to move. Ocala is big horse country,
for
but
us,
again, I'm
sure.
a New Yorker. So Ocala is like throwing me in the middle of a field and asking me to survive. It's not enough movement. There's not enough culture. And Wellington and Palm Beach it was too expensive. So, my finger landed on Tampa. I didn't know anyone.
Kind of in between.
Yeah, I didn't know anyone. We packed up my car and shipped it down, and I had my own horse at that time. I shipped him down.
And you were 19.
I was 19. Yep.
Okay.
Wow.
And
that's pretty good.
Yeah. So it was an experience, and I'm thrilled that I took it. It led me to start my own business when I was 22 here. Met tremendous amount of people that I never would have crossed paths with, and I'm very thankful for the path that I chose.
Wow.
The equestrian world, Joey, you know this. The equestrian world is kind of it's a narrow path. It's a narrow lane. There's a lot of people that enjoy horses. We talked about this, Lauren, but the equestrian world and riding and jumping and all of that is completely different than racing.
Oh, yes.
And it's pretty highbrow. I mean, I'm loving it because, I can see this 19-year-old just fantastic babe up on her saddle, and then when she gets down, and she can also have tea and crumpets with the best of, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying,
I see.
Joey?
Yeah, well.
Can you just envision all of that?
Yeah.
Were you having fun?
It's not quite like that, but yeah.
No, you were mucking stalls. Now be honest.
Yeah, I was sweaty and
teasing.
dirty.
I was
a very hard worker to get where.
Let me ask this question. We were already up to you're 19 and you've moved to Tampa, but I just want to go back for a moment and ask a dumb question real quick before we get on and lose that spot and we get to basketball and these other things. The dumb question is this. I've always been intrigued by people that you started riding. How old were you?
6. Actually, no. I was younger. I started competing when I was 6.
Wow.
I think I started riding when I was 4, and I wanted to ride at 3, but no one would let my parents,
because it's
no one would
crazy
take
to
me.
put a 3-year-old.
Right.
So there was a carousel in a couple towns down on Long Island, and I would beg my parents every weekend to take me on this carousel.
So you started with a wooden horse.
I started with a wooden horse. And
spinning wheel.
And then when it was time, I started taking lessons, and then we half leased my first horse, and then we ended up buying it. And then the story is
so also our amazing board op Jessica G, the OG here today. She's also a big horse person and very involved and interested in horses. But and this is the question, the dumb question. What happens in someone's mind when I saw a horse, I went, that's scary, and I would never want to ride it. And I would it's a big animal. It's a big animal.
Yeah.
What happens?
Big, beautiful animal.
Yeah, I get that. But still, you're not experiencing the horse. You're going,
I know where you're going with this, Joey. I think
what causes a child? I mean, where can you remember back there where you said, wow, I really like horses?
Yeah, I yes and no. We would drive by farms, and horses would be in the pastures, and we would stop, and I'd get out and pet them, and I never had any fear of them at all. And so
but there is something in some people I've noticed that they fall in love with dogs and they become a major dog person. I get it. Yeah. I have been one. There's other animals too that happens. There's just like a certain group of people that they see a horse and they go, oh, I want to be a part of that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at 3 years old, obviously 3-4 years old, Lauren knew that.
Yeah.
And that's why I think that
this must be reincarnation.
Well, and I was going to go there, but I was going to gently. Yeah, you just jumped into the deep end. I was thinking that maybe Lauren and her spirit has
in my past life.
No. But you may have been around horses in your past life.
There you go.
So that
could work.
By the time your spirit got here again, you were already accustomed to the animal.
Yes,
because there's no 3-year-old I know, 4-year-old I know.
Yeah,
including this one right here.
Seems unusual.
Yeah, it seems very, very
and
unusual.
you do have to remember that, of course, horses, people don't today think a lot about this probably, but until a certain point in time, I don't remember the exact decade, but there's a decade in the early years of New York City where there were no automobiles and they were nothing but horses. And then 10 years later, there were no horses. There was nothing but automobiles. This is the way technology changes our lives. But we forget that when you go back 100, 200, 300, 500, 2,000 years, that everything was being done with horses.
Yeah,
of course.
And so they were a big part of society.
Of humanity, period.
Yeah.
So and of course, I would be remiss if I didn't say a horse is a horse, of course. For those of you that remember Mr.
Wilbur.
Those of you that, so, and because we have fun like this here, Lauren. And we're not having fun at your expense because, like I told you on the phone, I am just enamored with the whole experience of horse culture because it is a culture, right? That's the whole separate part of society. And you experienced a lot of it at a high level for a good little part of your life. Right?
Yeah.
And then you became an owner of stables, and we can talk about these other things later. But we got to shift gears because JJ's over there chomping at the bit to say something.
Yeah, let's talk to JJ.
So you've been in Tampa for a while. We know you ran the equestrian center. At least the history will tell us that you ran the equestrian center at Chabal for a little while. And
nice.
I'm sure you met some wonderful people while you did that. You trained some young riders. You probably still have your proteges out there doing things. Hopefully, they have continued in your legacy as far as being around horses and teaching the next generation of riders and jumpers. But the TBL is in your life now. And again, I read at the top, you're the Director of Business Development and Operations. First of all, tell everybody what TBL stands for.
So TBL is actually it's called the Basketball League, and I am not the director of that. I am the director of the Tampa Bay Titans.
There you go.
So the TBL is the overall league.
Good.
And I think JJ can fill in on that. I think there's 40-ish
37, I believe, right
teams. And so
nationwide, JJ? Nationwide?
Yes,
37 teams?
37. I mean, California, Washington, New York, Illinois.
So you guys have a little bit of you have to have a little travel budget because you got to go play games out of town.
No.
Okay.
We go as
They
far
come
as
here?
Raleigh. So
that's
our
not
little
too bad.
section of the league or zone or
It's division.
Division. So
It's
you're in the Southeastern Division.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
exactly.
got you.
So we go to Raleigh.
Florida,
Yeah.
Georgia, North Carolina.
If you're just joining us now, that's the voice of JJ Flores. He's a player on the Tampa Bay Titans, and we would be remiss at almost halfway through the show. It goes so fast, Joey.
Sure.
That we are here tonight to speak specifically about an event that's coming up on Friday. JJ, I'll ask you about that in a minute, but I want people to be leaning in and listening. JJ, where did you get your basketball chops? Where did you
grow up, JJ?
Yeah, there you go.
I tell people down here, Chicago, but I'm from a small town outside of Chicago called Huntley, Illinois. I started playing other sports growing up, and then, just as a kid, you get into basketball, football, baseball, different things, and then me and my dad just got into basketball more than anything else. We would wake up 6 a.m. Sundays, go to the park, work out every single day. As soon as he got back from work, I got back from school. It became a routine for us, and it just became my passion. I stopped playing other sports for it, and I traveled all around the country. Actually,
AAU stuff and
AAU, high school.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually my original connection to Florida is I went to high school at Miami Christian my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
Won a state championship in Florida.
Go on now.
And then I went on to Georgia, played a college at Young Harris College there. Went back up to Illinois, went to junior college at Highland Community College. Went to Western Illinois for 2 years. And then went to get my master's degree, and then played a little bit of professional basketball for a little bit. Had to go back home, take care of some family. That's more important. More important than anything else.
Course.
Then I had an opportunity here. Went back and forth for about my first 4 or 5 months, going back to Illinois, back to Tampa. Then had this opportunity and took it, and here we are.
Wow, you've been a man of the world, haven't you? You've done a lot of traveling, my friend.
Yeah, I've been to just about every single state, I'd say, almost probably about 40 states out of the...
Wow.
And most of it attributed to your basketball skills and the desire to want to continue to play the game at a high level. And I'm guessing that Michael Jordan might have had something to do with your decision to go with basketball?
Nah, Derrick Rose.
You've heard of that guy.
Derrick Rose, baby.
Attaboy, okay.
I started a little late for basketball.
Yeah,
2010-ish. I was about 9-10 when I started getting real serious. But, that's right when Derrick Rose started his prime basketball.
Yeah, his ascension to the top.
2011, I believe he won his MVP.
Absolutely.
All his shoes, every pair of shoes he had. Tried to
Have
play
you had the
just like
occasion
him.
to meet him?
No.
Maybe we can work that out for you.
Hey,
Maybe.
if you guys have those connections, I'd love to. But
Don't underestimate us here on the conversation. I'm just going to tell you.
Hey.
You never know who we might know.
No doubt. But I pay a lot of my tribute to, obviously, Michael Jordan's a big person in basketball. But
Chicago, sure.
I had a lot of
But you were
passion.
the era of Derrick Rose.
Derrick Rose, and then
Understandably.
you like LeBron James, obviously, but then he stopped liking him as much. He was supposed to come to Chicago. Some people don't believe that, but there was a lot of rumors Kobe.
It's still pretty astounding what he's able to do at 40 years of age and get up and down the floor. He doesn't have the support he has now. I mean, he's got Luka with him. We're not going to turn it into a radio talk show about sports, Joey. But it's kind of fun to watch these guys, man, because you marvel at the fact that he's 40 years old.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
he's 40 years old. His
still
son is
better.
on the team with him. I mean, it's like, when is he going to stop? He is not showing any signs of stopping at all. I mean, he can go another 2 or 3 years. Tom Brady did it, for crying out loud, at the highest level as well.
Right.
So can we talk a little bit about Friday? Can we do that?
Yeah.
This would be a good time to do it, right?
Great time, yeah. Friday night, we have Latin night game at Tampa Prep. I believe it is our first theme night, so it's a big one for us. We have put in a lot of time and effort into making it something special, a good experience for our fans. We've had a lot of support from the city, especially being our first year back, I think, after a 3-year hiatus. And
That's good. That's good.
Under new ownership, and we've been doing great. First in our division right now.
Nice.
Top 10 in the league, I believe.
Nice.
So
we need to drive that attendance, man. We need to let everybody know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what does Latin night entail? I mean, are we going to have...
There you go. What's happening on Latin night?
Are we going to have empanadas? Are we going to have a boogie down dance contest?
So
what are we going to do?
Yeah, we're Lauren's been working hard. We got
Come on, Lauren.
we got food set up. We got different music. We got different competitions. I know we have some partnerships with some of our people. Are going to have some different things for kids, like toys and stuff like that. Come out and do different events.
So
And
giveaways, prizes,
all that fun stuff,
little
man.
fun competitions,
All
free throw
different-
shooting, something or another.
Exactly. All different ages will be able to have some fun.
Now,
and
this isn't
enjoy
the
it.
Savannah Bananas. We don't want people to think that they're going to come out and see a guy on stilts walking
No,
around.
no, no.
doing
This
it.
is
We're not
prof-
clowning.
no.
We're not clowning.
This is serious.
Serious, high-level basketball, man.
Right.
I mean, some of the people on our team have touched, G League, stuff like that, played overseas. I mean, we're
JJ, take
high-level
a second for
professional.
people that are novice to basketball in general and professional basketball specifically. Of course, everybody knows about the NBA.
Right.
Some people might be plugged into the fact that the European League is also very talented and you can go over there and have a fruitful career. But here, if you stay in the States, there's developmental leagues that people have to play in to try to get that shot, right? To get that
Exactly.
10-day contract or to work something out. Take us through that progression and as it relates to TBL.
So right now, we'd be rated right around the same level as the G League. Obviously, they're more established than us, have more funding, and have been around longer.
There you go.
And what is the name of your league?
The TBL, the basketball league.
TBL. Okay, I wasn't sure that was mentioned. Okay.
Yeah. So we've been around for, I believe, the league around 10 years now, a little bit over 10 years. And guys in the league are playing in the NBA right now. There's guys that have played in the G League. So the talent is there. There's people every week leaving and playing overseas in other countries. Actually, one of our guys just left, I believe, last week.
Yep, Bryce Beamer.
Bryce Beamer left last week to go play in Chile.
It's exciting, man.
Yeah,
it's exciting because, it's tough because, when you start out in the low minors, baseball, for example, you've got to get through the different levels and then you get right there where you're just about to make that jump to the big time. But it's the dedication and it comes from your heart. 25 is your age presently, right?
Correct.
Would you be able to share with us the median age of the players that you play and compete against? Are they about your age, a little younger, maybe even a little older?
I'd say most of them are right around the same age as me, a little bit younger, maybe 27, 28.
Every now and then, there's an '80s baby on the roster.
I was going to say, you got
All right, '80s babies. Yeah. So every now and then, we have one gentleman on our team who is 31.
Yeah, I
And
think
he's like the OG. He was on the Titans years ago, also.
Okay.
So he's. He's
So
like,
do you look to him for guidance and leadership? Do you just call him Pops and hope he doesn't smack you?
yeah, Ken's a great resource for us. He's a good leader and he's been around, so we use him for a lot of leadership and tips and things like that. And then we got the young end too, some of our goofier guys who were born in like 2001, 2002, I think. So
Well, you need that energy too.
Yeah.
And basketball, for those of you that follow it closely and even casually, it's all about energy. Because for me, getting up and down the floor and doing it for 48 minutes, and I'm assuming you're playing 12-minute quarters?
Correct. Yeah.
12-minute quarters?
4 12-minute quarters.
Yeah,
right
4
now.
12-minute quarters, pretty standard, because if you're going to make the jump to the G or to the
That's right,
the big time, you got to be in that format, in that structure. So the league is comprised of everybody from You have referees that are
Correct.
actually, like in the minor leagues in baseball, you're umpiring games because you're trying to get to the show.
Yeah, these are professionally trained. They're trying to move up.
There you go.
Some of them already do coach, or not coach. They referee in
maybe
high-level college.
There you go,
I did
D1.
speak with one who was doing, I think, like Big Ten games and stuff like that. So pretty high-level
That's good.
Division I basketball there.
So who typically would the Titans be playing against in the area?
Right now, we Savannah.
Play Savannah this weekend.
Savannah
yeah.
Buccaneers, I believe. The Jacksonville 95ers, Jacksonville, Florida. Raleigh Firebirds. That's our division right now. And then there's other teams up in New York, New Jersey, Washington, some in Canada.
It sounds like a load of fun, man.
It
To
is.
be honest with you, I had not heard about the Titans. I did a little bit of research, but knowing that they were idle for a few years, and this is kind of like a renaissance, here we go, rebirth. We want to get everybody out there and excited to come and see you guys and to see basketball at a high level up close. I called a couple of my contacts, my friends, my dear friends, one of which is legendary basketball player from University of South Florida, Mr. Charlie Bradley, who played high school here. And I called also a dear friend of mine, Mr. Leroy Staley, who played, and he was a guest on our show.
So we've had Staley on the show, yeah.
Okay.
Staley has a distinction, and you'll have to trust me on this
He's a
or
great guy.
look this up. He was part of the 1979 Final Four team that played in the Final Four against Michigan State. He was a teammate of Larry Bird's, Larry Legend. So these guys are going to be there
Awesome.
on Friday night.
Awesome.
So I'll introduce you to them. And, I'm just saying, if you want to go down low one-on-one, I don't know what you want to do.
Hey, man.
At this point in time, they're going to take a pass. But these are great people, and I'm trying to get as many as I can to come out and see you.
I appreciate that
Of
very much,
course.
man. We appreciate it.
Of course. Listen, let's take a second and do our station ID. Remind everybody who we are. When we come back, we'll give you the phone number and the email in case you'd like to join the conversation and you have a question for Lauren or JJ.
Hi, I'm Christina Moretta, and you're listening to The Conversation with Mario Nunez and Joe King Carter on WMNF 88.5 Tampa.
Wonderful. Let me give you that phone number in case you want to give us a call, because JJ's got answers if you've got questions, and Lauren as well. So it's 813, you guys know the number, 813-239-9663. Send us a text if you're so inclined, 813-433-0885. We also receive emails, and Jessica will read your emails on the air. DJ at WMNF.org. We've got a phone caller that's been waiting. I'm going to go ahead and take that phone call now. He's got a question, I'm sure, about the TBL. His name is Mike. He's calling from Tampa. And Mario, this is when you click the computer and bring him on the air. Hey, Mike, thanks for calling. You got a question for
What's
us?
happening? I'm loving the show today, brother. Remember Tampa. I'm loving the show today. I wanted to make sure that it's pumping me up because Julian is in an independent league in Utica, Michigan, and this is very similar. It sounds very similar. Median age 25, opportunities for guys to play in front of good crowds and perhaps maybe get that shot that they're looking for. It's very exciting. There's a place for basketball in this area like that. I'm hoping there will be a place for baseball similar to that in this area. So it's an intriguing conversation and concept. I never knew about this particular league. I never knew about the team, but it's exciting me.
And this is why we have our guests in studio today. They just crossed paths with us, like I said, within the last 48 hours. And I just saw this as a rich opportunity to share their story and to drive people perhaps out to come see the event on Friday, which is going to be fabulous. You don't mind if I tell everybody who you are, do you?
No, go ahead, please.
This is Mike Baluja, everybody, and you've probably heard him because every once in a
Hey,
while,
Mike.
Every once in a while, he'll sit in with Franco Silva. Mike is a big part of our life here, not only at WMNF. He's been listening for the whole 40 years this station's been in existence, but he's also instrumental in the Tampa Native Show and all things that I do on the TV side. But Mike's grandson is Julian, who he's speaking of, who's chasing his baseball dreams as JJ is chasing his. And Mikey, I would be remiss if I didn't say happy birthday yesterday, mi hermano. Happy birthday.
Thank you, my brother.
All right.
68's a beautiful thing, bro.
I know how old you are because I'm right behind you.
Hey, Mike, this is Mike. I appreciate your comments because this show is about so many different things, and community radio, this is sort of in a way, even though they're in a league, this is community basketball.
Of course.
And that's what's important about this, is that we here at WMNF are constantly pursuing the community connection. So, and
I wasn't sure what it was when I called. Is it an independent league, or is it, what is it?
JJ?
It's a fully professional, organized league. I mean, we.
Oh yeah. This is exactly what my grandson is in over there in Utica. It's called the United Shores Professional Baseball League.
Okay.
It's one of maybe 10 or 12 leagues around the nation. There's some quality baseball players.
that's it, Mike. We ain't got no ratty.
We ain't got time for that, Mike.
We ain't got no ratty's fourth tier stuff here, baby. We got the top dog. You know what I'm saying?
These are guys that are very, and I'm sure that you have that same quality of ball player in your organization that are right there. Right there. It's just that
they need to be seen.
Hard.
They need to be exposed to it. That's all.
Yeah. So that's good. I wish you guys the best of luck, and I hope that it succeeds and does well and prospers. I know that over there they get $6,000 or $7,000 in the stadium on any given day. It's successful. It's a money-making proposition, and they play out of a stadium called Jimmy John Stadium, which is a great stadium. But it's just it's a great opportunity for a lot of people who are still trying to get there, and it's difficult. It's difficult, but it's a beautiful thing, and I wish you all the best of luck. And I hope maybe somebody will be encouraged to begin something like that for baseball in the area.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it
Especially when
very
you
much.
consider our history with baseball, Mikey, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Especially when
Oh,
you
yeah.
consider Tampa's connection to all things baseball. And let me say, you haven't touched on it, but we can hear it dripping in your voice. It's a great source of pride for the families who have children that are still chasing their dreams, right? So JJ's, his family, his cousins, his parents, you know what I mean? They're all just pushing him and being real proud of the fact that he's still in the game.
Yes, and let me tell you, it's watching my grandson play against these guys, because he's unschooled a couple of times. He's had some good times and some hard times. Mm-hmm. But watching him, and they ended up winning the championship. They came out of the bottom, the cellar last year to win the championship, and he's on the field popping champagne and with the cigars. It was beautiful. I'll never forget that.
Of course, those are the memories that last a lifetime. Mike, and the Titans right now are chasing. They're in the hunt. They're chasing. They're in the top of their division. So, if you're free on Friday, I'll give you a call when the show's over. We'll give you all the details.
Because I would love to see one of those games. I would love to see that.
Hey, thanks, Mike.
Thank you, Mikey. Thanks for calling.
The music man himself, Mike.
Mike Ballou,
right.
everybody.
Mike Ballou.
Thank you so much. So these are the kinds of people that listen to our show. The
There
people
you go.
that are
awesome.
profound. They've been in Tampa for a long time. They're connected to our community in a very organic way.
Now, let me just do this. We're at the just past the bottom of the hour. We're going to hit this again at the top of the hour when we come to close. Let's get some pertinent information out there. Where is this event happening? What time is it happening?
Tampa Prep, 7 p.m. Friday.
Okay.
There you go.
Everybody out there know where Tampa Prep is? Look it up. Okay, Google it if you don't know where the address is.
Yeah, it's right there on the water. It's beautiful.
right there,
Tampa
yeah.
Press.
Right across
Gymnasium's not
from
that
UT.
old. Yeah,
Right across from UT.
Yep.
There you go.
Gymnasium's not that old. It's been there for a minute. For those of us that have been in Tampa for a while, Tampa Prep ranks right up there with Jesuit and Tampa Catholic.
So
and of
we
course,
need for you
Berkeley
folks
High
to
School.
come out, support this team.
Yes, sir.
Support Latin Night.
Let me
This is the
get
stuff.
to this next caller right here, because I got another. Listen, the callers are coming hot and heavy, bud. Just said we must hit a nerve or something. I think it's basketball. I mean, that's what
Could
it is.
be.
Well, I've got Leroy from Tampa calling in, and he says he wants to ask a question about a basketball league. Leroy, is that you? You're on the air. Tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Leroy Staley.
Yeah, I just said that. You're Leroy.
Mr. Staley.
Hi, Mr. Staley. How are you? I was just
Hey,
singing
my
your
brother.
praises a minute ago.
Yeah, I heard. I was listening.
There you go. Hi, Leroy. You got a question for JJ? Or you got some maybe even better than question? You got some good advice for this young player?
Well, it's funny because with him being in Chicago and with me growing up in Tampa, I know the feeling because he's coming to Heat and I went to the coast.
Oof. Wrong way.
But the one good thing that I could say is, the story that he told is very similar to mine. And I want to commend him, just keep your head up and keep pushing yourself because the league is very good league, and like I said, very similar to the G League because you found a lot of sleeper players out there that can make it to the next level.
I appreciate that.
Well, Staley, we're hoping to see you on Friday. I mean,
Yes,
I talked
sir.
about you and Charlie, and let's spread the word around. I'll introduce you to JJ personally, and we'll sit next to each other, and we'll have a good time with this. And if there's a free throw contest, I'm in it. I'm in it to win it. Okay. I ain't shot a free throw in a while, man. I hope I can reach the basket. Well, I'm short enough. They might confuse me for a kid. I don't know.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you, like Larry said, who's coming in second?
That's right. That's right. The great Larry Bird, man. Larry Legend. Well, Staley, thank you again for always supporting us here at WMNF and the conversation. Sir. And we look forward to getting a hug from you on Friday, brother.
I'll be there. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, kid. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. You guys take care.
Those are the kinds of friends we have here on the conversation. Awesome. So, Lauren, what, from an administrative point of view and the things that you do, the many hats that you wear, tell us a little bit about what your daily routine might be like. I know it's busy. I know
it's
you
busy, yeah.
You hit the ground running.
We did. So because it's the first year of new ownership, Byron Johnson purchased the team at the end of 2024.
Why does that name sound so familiar to all of us?
Byron has an insurance company in Tampa. He plays pickup.
He's big in real estate as well.
He owns a few. Yeah, he's heavily involved in the community.
Byron Johnson. Okay. Yeah. How old a gentleman is Byron Johnson?
He's 40.
Okay, young man. And he's a Tampa product. So went to school here and raised here.
No, he's from up north. I'm not exactly where. I believe Ohio, but I don't want to be wrong. I don't want to be wrong.
JJ, you have to understand. For old timers like us, we got to ask these questions because in the last 40 years. 20 years especially, decade, there's been an influx of people that are moving and shaking in our community, but they're not from here necessarily. Yeah. So we kind of try to establish, okay, is this an old Tampa guy or is it an old Tampa girl? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he moved here. I don't know when he moved here, but he's definitely not. He's not from Tampa originally.
The other thing I'll tell you right off the top is once they get here, they don't leave.
A lot of people do like staying.
And if you want to know why, just get out there on 275, baby, any time of day.
Right.
You know where they're at. So I'm sorry, Lauren, I interrupted you. Tell us about your day.
So I've taken a very high interest in the team. I've developed relationships with the guys that play.
How'd you come to the team?
Oh, yeah.
Was it an accident?
It was kind of an accident. Mm-hmm. So I have an associate of mine, Daryl Hepburn, who's our GM. He had posted something on Instagram, and
they're looking for somebody.
They're looking for somebody.
And what were you doing at that time?
I still ride and compete.
So you were still working
now,
with horse?
Yeah.
You had yours.
So I still have my horse business going on. So, I messaged him and I said, hey, hire me. And he was like, what? And I said, yeah, and he's like, you know what? You would actually be probably perfect for this because of my business background and I'm very personable and a go-getter and, everything else.
Profile was in place.
Yeah, so he brought me in to meet with Byron, and the rest is kind of history. I came in with the belief that I was just going to be gaining sponsorships. And we were a little late to the party in the beginning of the year to get sponsorships. So, that's been a little bit of a difficult, So, because we're a little late. We should have started that at the end of last year. However, so within that, then I became, a contact for the guys to be able to reach and, hey, Lauren, can you do this for us? Or can you get this answered for us? Or what do we do with this? And then I started doing the actual contracts. And then I started making phone calls and getting us new schools to play at. And then I started, hotel reservations and van reservations. And
making sure the boys had clean uniforms and packing their lunches.
Yeah, a couple home games ago, our president handed me the bag of towels. And I said, he said, my washing machine is broken. I said, it is not broken. But I took the bag of towels and now I do the towels after the games.
Oh, Lauren.
So I've made some fantastic connections. We've had different community events. I've been at every one. I go to every practice. I go to every game. I drive the van with, the coaches when we drive to away games. So I am
you are waist deep in it,
1,000% committed to this. And
is it suffice to say that, some of these things wouldn't come off without your input, and secondarily, can we get an assistant to the assistant? I'm
well,
just saying.
There's
Does
no
the
budget for
assistant
that.
need-
But there have been times where I'm like, okay, this is a lot, and I have to juggle with my regular real life
Of course.
and business and et cetera. And have done some help with Byron with his insurance company as well too. He's brought me on for that. So yeah, we all kind of joke, we'll all get put in a group chat and it'll say, oh, this is Lauren Barth. She's wears many hats. And then now all of a sudden I'm managing the dance team and helping getting them set up in different practices and things like that.
You need some interns.
Well, yeah. So these are all lists. We
Sure.
all have lists of what we need to do and improve on for next year and things like that. But we're all in this. Because it's the first year, we all knew that we were taking on a big
Heavy lift.
a heavy load. So we're all in it. Everyone kind of washes each other's hands and helps out for the cause. So,
But that's good, though. That's
Yep.
good, though, because listen, this is baptism by fire, it sounds like.
yes.
But it's going to be rewarding, and at the end, when you do your postmortem, okay, the season's over, where we ended up, how we did, and how can we improve this?
Yeah.
That's when you think about, okay, then the sponsorship quest begins.
It will be easy.
And,
yes.
and then you get some bigger money, and then hopefully you'll get the staff that you need, because it sounds to me like you're a little bit understaffed, but that's okay, because we are what we are.
Starting, yeah.
Yeah, we are where we are.
I mean, I started my business and I did everything. I fed the horses, cleaned the horses, rode the horses, taught the
Right.
lessons, closed up for the night 7 days a week. So I know how it is starting a business. The first 2 years are tough, and it's,
So is this the point in the show when I asked JJ, how grateful are you to have Lauren there?
I mean, we wouldn't be able to do what we do without her.
I don't want to see Lauren
I mean,
washing her own car, bro.
Yeah.
I don't want to see Lauren. You understand me?
She
Lauren
we-
needs
we-
lunch. You better go get it for her.
We try to let her know every day.
Yeah, they do.
We're thankful for her. She does a lot for us, and I mean, all of us players, especially, we know we wouldn't be able to do a lot of what we do without her. So
That's great, though.
I'm terribly excited, Joey. I hope if you're available on Friday, maybe you
Yeah,
can come
please
too.
come.
I may slip over.
I want to see it now.
Yeah.
Now that we have a sense of it, I want to see it in operation. I want to see it in. Of course, this is basketball.
By the way, is there a ticket fee or?
There is. So it's $15 for adults for general admission, $10 for kids. We do have a VIP section. We have baseline tickets, courtside tickets. I think those range in the $35 to $60 range. You guys obviously can come and be on my guest.
Thank you. Courtside is so cool because if
It
you're,
is. That's
if you're
where
not,
where I sit when I'm
Listen.
done trying to check in my guests and
Right,
stuff. I go
right.
and sit on the court, and I'm probably the loudest one in that gym, screaming at everyone. So
They have
Well,
courtside
obviously, that
seats.
would make sense.
When you're watching an NBA game on TV.
Yeah.
Obviously, when you see Spike Lee, he's always,
Yes.
like here's the bench and Spike Lee.
Yeah.
Two players.
And
So
Jack Nicholson, yeah.
Yeah, when you're there up that close,
They're right at court, yeah.
You get a little sweat on you sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yeah,
if the
right.
ball's going out of bounds and the player's got to come after the ball, look out.
Yeah.
I think I got my taste of courtside at a Lakers Magic game.
Well, how much
and
fun
I
was that?
Never could go back.
Yeah.
Like, oh, well,
You expect me to
where
sit
are the
up there?
tickets? Oh, I don't think I can make, So,
a whole different
we
perspective.
really try to make the games exciting. The guys are fantastic players. They are professional
course.
players. So it's exciting. Some people are like, oh, it's just, who are you or what is this team? But it's once people have come to the game, they're like, wow, we're coming back.
It says
So-
our friend Mike Beluha was mentioning, when you see the baseball players playing
Yes.
in the same situation, these players are playing their hearts out.
They
man.
are.
They're diving for balls. They're crashing into walls. They're
and
doing
they're
everything.
good.
Of course.
They deserve the,
You're right.
some of them just get
Absolutely.
overlooked or
Yeah,
it's like, why
exactly.
isn't this person playing in a,
Exactly.
so it's exciting. I enjoy it. I genuinely enjoy it. So
How about you, JJ? Are you genuinely enjoying this?
I mean, yeah, it's great, man. I get
Do
to
you
play.
pinch yourself sometimes that you're still playing and you're in a professional setting with people that are, looking out for your best interests?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very grateful for it every day. I mean, I get to wake up and go practice and get around people who want to work the same way that I do every day. And
No
then-
shoe contract yet.
Nah, nothing
We're working
like
on that. We're working on
We're
that.
working on it.
We're working on it. JJ, what position you play? Let everybody know. Remind everybody.
I'm the starting point guard for us.
There you go.
Yeah, so
So let me ask you a question. I'm going to get in the weeds a little bit, Joey.
That's good.
We
Go
get in the
ahead.
weeds just a second. Steph Curry.
what about him?
I mean, I don't know what that's like. It seems like the ball, when it comes out of his hand,
I think he's
It's
the
so
only one
different. It's so
ever
different.
in the history of the world that knows what it's like.
it's
I
so
mean,
different, JJ.
Yeah, he's special.
He put one up the other day that, okay, I'll use another, I'll mix my metaphors just a little bit. It's like when, a pitcher throws a ball
Hmm.
that he knows out of his hand, Okay, I've hit my spot.
Right.
I've confused the hitter enough. He's looking for something else. He ain't looking for this. And he's kind of walking off the mound by the time the catcher goes, wah. And the umpire goes, yeah. Well, that's what, when Steph lets it go.
He turns around.
He turns around. He's already like, come on, man. And then it's nothing but, nylon. It's nothing but the bottom. It's beautiful, Joey. It's beautiful. I look at, we can do this all day long because the same thing happens with Lauren. And if she's honest, she'll tell you when her ride leaves its hooves, leaves its feet.
Yeah.
She knows if he's going to clear that barrier and how she's going to land. Tell me, Lauren, am I right or wrong? Am I right or wrong? You do. You say you're that extension of the horse.
When you're on, you're on, and you usually know if you're not where you're ending up. So, yeah.
Right.
There you go.
Right.
So, it's all exciting.
The other players on the team.
Name some of those guys.
Yeah.
What number you wear? Come on, we got so many
I wear
questions.
number 11. I was actually born.
Is there a reason for that?
I was born on 11/11.
Oh, wow, okay.
So,
all right. Let's go with
Something
11/11.
Yeah, so I like to wear.
Well, that's a special number,
Yeah.
It has certain meanings. 11/11, by the way.
Yeah, I believe in. It brings a lot of things to me. A lot of positivity,
There you
strength,
go. There you
all
go.
those things.
Well, a little magical.
Joey lit up.
metaphysical
Joey.
mystery.
Yeah, I was just
Yeah.
going to say, you want to lay some of that on us, Joey?
Well, no. I'm not saying that I am a hardcore believer in such, but I will say
but
that
numerology is a thing.
11/11 is an expression of future growth and awakening and awareness, and it's supposedly those who sort of subscribe to the idea that if you see it a lot in your life, you are about to enter into a realm of change and growth.
Oh, great.
And so if you happen to look at your digital clock and you're looking at it
11/11.
11 minutes after 11 and it's happening a lot, you're like going, why am I seeing that? And could that just be that your mind is selecting that? And, you can go down that path too as the skeptic. But I think it is interesting that people use 11/11 as a way to elevate life. And I think it's interesting that you were born on that date.
Yeah.
And he's 25. Joey, he's 25.
25.
Huh? Yeah. I think I got tennis shoes that old. I'm not sure.
25. Let me reflect for a
tell us
moment.
about the rest of the roster. Come on, man.
We got other guys. Let me see.
Tampa natives. You do the
Tampa
Tampa guys
natives.
first.
Thank you.
Ooh,
Chase
that-
Bars. He
yeah.
went to Berkeley.
I think Chase Bars.
Chase Bars
we
is a
got
Tampa native.
Bryce Workman, I believe, is
Bryce
a Tampa
Meringue.
native.
They are both Tampa guys, and they all played against each other
Yeah.
in high school. So
And now they're coming
and now
together,
they're
sort of like an
yeah,
all-star
So that's kind
team.
of
So
exciting.
that's cool.
We do have a lot of guys who are coming from outside of Tampa.
Yeah.
About 4 or 5 of the guys are Tampa natives.
Yeah.
We got Trey Dooms. We call him Doomsday.
He's South Florida, I think.
Doomsday. He's originally from Atlanta, I believe. Francis Seo's up front. He's from Charlotte.
Yeah.
Justin Blanks, I believe, is from Ohio. Vern. I believe Vern's a Florida baby. I believe he's from Tampa.
Yeah.
Vernon
Have
Jackson.
you played any games, JJ, currently in memory that you go, wow, it's a good team. This team is stout. This team can play. You know what I mean? Where you have a challenge and you get in there and you got to scrap.
We got a nice little rivalry going with the team up in North Carolina, Raleigh Firebirds.
Yes.
Right now, I
Cool.
think, what are we, 2-2 against them?
we're
They're
2-2.
our only 2 losses
Nobody's
on
got
the
the
season.
upper hand on anybody yet.
No.
Well, we're ahead of them because
yeah.
they've lost one other game, I believe, to another team, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they lost to Jacksonville.
Yeah, so
Things get chippy out there sometimes.
sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know?
the refs let us play, which I don't mind. But,
Got to go inside.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the Raleigh games are extremely exciting.
high energy,
Yeah, very high
competitive,
energy.
back and forth. Some of the other games, you might come and watch us put 150 and win by 40, but
Yeah.
still
But the
fun.
competitive games are
Yeah.
those are good.
Those
and
are
they let
good
you
ones.
bang.
Yeah.
So if the referees are letting you get at it a little bit, because you know what? I mean, I don't know, Joey, but when I'm watching the big leagues play, the NBA,
Yep.
this is unbelievable what's happening now. And it can change from half to half because some of the players are complaining about that in the first half,
Yeah.
they're getting
It's
away
changed
with
a lot
of
in
stuff.
our lifetime.
They're getting away with a lot of
Yeah.
stuff that they're not getting away with in the second half, and it's like the player
Right.
says, no, look, if I can bang in the first half, why can't I do it in the second half? If I'm going to get, I'm in foul trouble now because the same stuff I was doing in the first
Right.
half, you're not letting me do.
Is this basketball or ice hockey?
No, this is basketball.
Yeah, right.
But
Right.
ice hockey, the same thing.
Yeah, right.
But basketball in particular, and again, I asked the question of Lauren, who's the biggest guy on your team?
Tallest, I believe, Chase Bars.
At about 6'9", 6'8",
6'9",
6'9"?
6'10", I believe,
Yeah.
and then Bryce Workman, I believe, is right 6'8", 6'9". And then it drops down a
Wow.
little
And
bit.
when you see him on TV, Joey,
Yeah.
see him on TV,
Yeah.
you don't have really anything to.
Yeah, because they're
If
all in the
everybody's
same range.
6'10",
Yeah,
right.
6'11", you go, well, everybody looks normal. But when you stand next to these people, you realize, oh my,
Yes.
that's a tall dude.
The biggest thing
yeah.
for people to realize how big basketball players, I think, is when they see like NFL players go to the basketball games. You see
Yeah.
like a wide receiver,
Yeah.
everyone thinks he's huge in the NFL.
You see
You
it.
go stand next to Steph Curry, and Steph Curry's taller than him or something like
Or
that.
stand
So-
next to LeBron,
Yeah,
or
like-
the Joker
Or
who's
you see Rudy
7
Gobert in person.
Oh, Gobert's
and, like,
ridiculous.
he could stand and grab the rim without jumping.
Wow.
So it's like,
Joey, how about that one? How about that one?
And
And it's not just the guys that are 7 feet. There's enough of them in the league too. But the guys that are 6'4", 5'6", that can fly,
Yeah.
that take off somewhere around the
Right.
foul line, and
Right.
you go, what's that all about? And controlling the basketball, being able to control the basketball like that.
Right.
I'm jazzed right now because we're in that time of year where you're seeing the best of the very best competing for the big prize.
yep.
And you hate to see some of these teams get knocked out because they're good, and you enjoy watching them perform, because that's what you're doing, JJ. Yeah, you're playing a sport and you're competing, but you're also performing,
Right.
right? So you want to have a good performance. And any injuries, JJ? I just thinking about that. Have you had suffered any injuries while you've been out there?
Not this year. In college.
Yeah, knock on wood. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you. Plastic will take
God
it.
forbid. I got
There's
my
wood in there somewhere.
I got my prayer warriors back home. Shout out to my grandma and my mom.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that.
But injury-wise, I hurt my ankle in college. I had an ankle surgery, ATF ligament and perineal tendon. But
Ooh.
other than that, no.
painful stuff, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is. For a
definitely
basketball player, you kidding
not
me?
fun. I mean,
Feet.
it was a long process, about a 2-year long process overall, trying to play on it when it was injured and then getting surgery and stuff like that. But I came back more athletic afterwards, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But yeah, like you said, my mom, my grandma, I mean, I know they're probably both listening right now. So
Qué bueno.
shout out to them.
That's so
shout out
nice.
to them.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Grandma.
So, and they're listening back in Chicago?
Yeah, my grandma's actually also both of them originally from New York as well. So another thing, connect with you guys. But are you from New York or?
Myself?
Yeah.
I'm fourth generation Tampeño, but
Okay.
my parents met and married in New York.
Okay.
My father was born here, and they're still alive. My father's going to be 97. My mother's going to be 95.
Wow.
They're still together, in fact. I mean, well, obviously they're alive and they're together. My dad was born here in Ybor City, but he went to New York in 36.
Okay.
And my mother was born in Ponce, in Puerto Rico, and she moved to New York when she was like 2. So they lived a block apart. You know how it is.
Yeah.
They were in Manhattan. They lived a block apart, and they met at a post-World War II block party, right, celebration, and they've been together ever since. So my father, when you were talking about that, my father's been here the rest of his life. He spent 17 years of his 97 years in New York, so that 80 years he's been here.
Wow.
And if you ask him, he'll still want a cup of coffee.
I mean, yeah.
That never
Bagel
leaves
and
you.
some pizza.
That never leaves you.
My family is all still in New York, so I go home.
His
pretty
team is the
often, yeah.
Yankees. His team is the Yankees. You know,
That's
the memories that he has closest and nearest to him. Although he used to come to Ybor City because he still had family here to take the train down, but it's New York. You know, He's really,
You get to New York, you start to get drawn
it
back
all
in.
comes back.
It all
Yeah.
comes
Yes.
back.
And there's only one city like it in the country.
Yes.
I just got the New York family, and my baseball team is the Yankees. So I mean,
There
it
you
just
go.
carries
There
home
you go.
strong in you. So that New York blood.
Biggest
There you
venue you've ever played in, biggest gym, biggest nicest one, or the one you remember the most. Like, oh yeah, this was a nice one. I like this place.
go. We went to Nebraska opening night of our season. I believe it was opening night. It might have been our second game, and we beat them
Really?
at Western Illinois. It
Nice.
was called a bye game. You know, they had probably about like 20,000 plus people in their gym. Iowa.
That's a big time.
big- yeah.
Nebraska, Iowa was another big one. I mean, there's probably other ones that I'm not remembering right now. I mean, the South Dakota States, North Dakota States, they always pack their gym out. So I played against some big schools.
Well, listen, as we come up against the clock here in just a couple.
Let's
a
hit the
minute.
event this Friday.
Yeah, we gotta get out of here on time. So please remind us, JJ.
Latin night, Friday, 7 o'clock, Tampa Prep. Real big game for us. First team night of the season. We'd appreciate as many fans as possible.
Come on out, Lauren.
There you go.
Yeah, come join us. Thank
Absolutely,
you. Thank you
yeah.
for having us.
Of course. And thank you for coming in on short notice just like that, Don Scott. Thank you for putting us together.
Yes, yeah, thank you to Don.
Thank you to Don. Who's coming up next, big fella?
Oh, well, first of all, I want to say thank you to Jessica G, the OG, who makes all of this possible.
Thank you, Jessica.
And also, I want to say Joe Remo from Kokomo. Thanks, Joe. Appreciate you handling the calls. And then coming up next, I see Jim Bannon over there, the master of music, the governor of grooves.
Get ready, Jimmy.
Playing Disc for You, and stay tuned to Jim because he's got some great stuff coming up.
We're coming at you next. So listen, this has been a great show. We hope that you guys have learned a little bit today. You know, we do this each and every week, each Wednesday at noon, just to kind of give you information, keep you informed and educated, and maybe entertain just a little bit. Joey, I like to think we do that as well.
I hope so.
Thank you, Jessica. Thanks everybody for listening. We'll be here again next Wednesday. You're listening to WMNF Tampa.